So going into this NCAA cross-country season, there was a lot of talk about the recent influx of East African talent and how that could change the NCAA running world forever. Of course, in my previous video on the subject matter, I talked a lot about how bringing foreign talent to the NCAA isn't really something new, but I think recently there has been a lot of talk in the NCAA cross-country scene, particularly that the national championships would be dominated by foreign talent, especially East African runners. However, as the dust settled, so to speak, after the national championships in Madison, Wisconsin, I think we saw a result that should help put some of those ideas that NCAA cross-country is broken or ruined to rest, as the top teams that won both races were full of American talent, and we'll be taking a look at what happened in both races, as I think this season of NCAA cross-country proved that the sport on an amateur level is far from being broken.
We had a target on our backs this year. We were ranked #1, but a lot of the pundits had us at 2 or even 3.
At least in the way some people feared, with there being too much talent being added from abroad into the NCAA. And I do want to be clear, there's nothing wrong with any athlete from anywhere going to the NCAA to pursue the sport if they're eligible and become a student athlete. It's one of those things where it's about the game, not the players. And the athletes that run collegiately deserve a lot of respect for what they do. First, I want to take a look at the men's race because there were certainly a lot of contenders from East Africa looking to take the crown, many just starting their careers in the NCAA, which honestly isn't easy and does take some getting used to. But one interesting thing to note is one of the biggest talents, Solomon Kipchoge, did not start at nationals for some reason. He was on a sling my pick after winning the mountain region. But it's really unclear why he wasn't at the start line of the biggest race of the year in cross country. But still, there were a long list of favorites that were already throwing down some pretty remarkable performances earlier in the season. One such notable performance came from Evans Karui, a Washington State freshman who would open his season taking down Edward Chesrick's course record in what was a spectacular run, and he'd show little signs of slowing down all season. Despite it being his first running in the NCAA, as he absolutely just ran away with things at the West Regional Championships. However, when nationals rolled around, Karui didn't really look all that dominant. He did push the pace for parts of the race, but he wasn't able to hold on to the leaders, and he fell back to 36th. Now, 36th in the nation is obviously still a superb performance for anyone, but I think Karui may be an example of how it isn't easy for an athlete to just come in and just run away from the NCAA. One may be able to do it at lower key meets or even regionals, but nationals is often a different story, and there's so much talent in run race, it's hard to win or even be close to the front. But all this is not to single Karui out at all. One team that had a lot of Kenyan talent was Alabama, a squad that dominated the Southeast Regional, including a win from freshman Dismiss Locura.
And they've got the top 3 spots locked up. Your winner, Dennis Dismiss Locura.
However, although Locura that a featured before the race as someone to watch out for, he wasn't really in the front of the pack at all, getting close to the top 15 after the midway point, but falling back to 41st. And his Alabama teammates didn't really dominate either, as the 8th-ranked Crimson Tide would finish 18th at nationals. And that's not just to single out Alabama as a squad either. Other schools performed well, and some of their guys may have just not had a great day out there. But it does show you that having a lot of strong foreign talent doesn't make you a lock for the top of the NCAA. Finally, we also can take a look at, of course, OSU. Now, the Cowboys were coming in as the defending champs after an absolutely dominant performance last year.
The first of what appears to be the national champions, Oklahoma State,
And we see Oklahoma State, they're getting their second runner across the line. There's third, there's four.
And I think it was that performance that really made some people question if the rise of East African and foreign talent in the NCAA was starting to go too far. OSU was led by the likes of Danish Givkenich and Brian Musau last year, two Kenyans that also had pretty good chances of going into this meet and winning it all. Yet when the race unfolded in Madison, it wasn't just that the big guns in Givkenich and Musau couldn't hold on to the very best contenders, although Musau gave a strong effort to get fifth, and Dennis Givkenich ran well for 11th. But behind those two, the foreign death that propelled OSU to its last title was, well, just not really there.
Oklahoma State, I think at this point, is going to be done. Right now they're 6, so they will not defend.
Or where they wanted to be if they wanted to compete for the title. I mean, whether the team just didn't get it right training-wise, or they didn't believe in themselves after losing to BYU at conference, or whatever reason they didn't quite deliver, OSU could not dominate in the NCAA with foreign talent this year. Even with all their big guns and guys like Musau and Givkenich having more experience than last year. And on to the women's race, I think that, yes, things did play out a bit differently where you could look at how well the East African talent performed up front. Individually, there were 3 women that were operating at a different level this year in Doris Langale, Hilda Olamoemoe, and Pamela Kosgei. However, we kind of knew that going into this, the trio would pretty much be in control of this race. And there were some very respectable performances behind them. However, from a team perspective, none of these individuals in the top 3 were on teams that absolutely dominated in the NCAA. New Mexico ran well and finished 7th. Alabama in 10th, a bit below their right team, Florida in 12th, with a great performance. Instead, it would be the BYU squad that's been up there all year that put together a great race to win it all as a team. And they would do so on both sides, as the men's and women's teams won NABBY's titles with American talent.
And Ed, yeah, now that I've said it, you can hold up and cheer.
So overall, I think it's certainly not fair to say that NCAA cross country is broken or ruined, or some of the things I've seen with the influx of foreign talent that's been joining the NCAA and those alarm bells. There's still plenty of opportunity for the best domestic talent to develop in the NCAA and not just get blown away by the competition. You look at how well some names born in the USA placed in both these races, and there still seems to be really good competition. And actually having some big talent join from abroad into the NCAA could help inspire top American talent to keep pushing and getting ready to compete at the pro level, where you do have to race the world's best.
This is the decisive moment. Musau goes, Graham follows him, looks around, nobody else is coming. I'm going all the way to the finish.
I think all that is to say, NCAA cross country is still a lot of fun to watch, and I think it will continue to be an awesome sport for many more seasons in the future. If you enjoy coverage of athletics like this, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. See you in the next one.